social distancing and to prevent the spread of the virus. As noted on the published agenda, the public is able to view and listen to this meeting. A link to the YouTube live streaming is provided on the county website. The video recording will remain on the YouTube channel for those who are not able to watch it live. All reports and surveys reviewed during this hearing are available on the county website. Also, as noted on the agenda, public participation is limited to written testimony. All written testimony received by the Planning Department for items on this agenda have been forwarded to the commissioners. Commissioners, please be reminded that only one person may speak at a time. Raise your hand to be recognized if you have a question or a comment. At this time, I'd like to introduce the commissioners. Please say present when your name is called. Commissioner Teresa Dunham.
Present.
Commissioner Kinohana Hirano.
Present.
Commissioner Natalie Kurashima.
Present.
And Commissioner Scott Mahoney.
Present.
Chair notes that 3 commissioners are absent: Alex Akau, Angela Fa'anunu, and Nicole Louis. And I'm Chairperson Jerry Bell. Quorum to hold this meeting has been established. The following staff are also in attendance. Let me see. I know Alex is there and Kim Tanaka. Anyone else? All right. Hi, Alex and Kim.
Hi, Deputy
And
Corporation
so-
Counsel.
We
Oh,
got Deputy Corporal Counsel, Corp Counsel John Mukai.
And also John Mukai. Oh, there you are, way back in the corner. Then thank you to Rochelle Lay for doing the work to set us up on the video conferencing. With that, I'd like to proceed to the first item on today's agenda. Presentation by the commission staff on the draft nomination of the Kojiro Yamato store and garage property to the State Register of Historic Places and nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. Property is located on TMK 345-006-011, 45-3468 Mamani Street, Honoka'a, Hamakua, Hawaii. For deliberation and vote on mayoral recommendation. It appears that no public testimony came in for this agenda item. Commissioners, now we go to staff presentation. If you would provide your presentation on this agenda item.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So let me know if anybody cannot see the presentation. Everybody good? You can see that?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so today we are talking about the register application for the Yamato store and garage. Here's a shot of the current condition of the store and garage in Honoka'a. Here's a location map. Most everybody knows it's right in Honoka'a town. Unfortunately, the verbiage is really just laying out all of the historic structures that are in Honoka'a town. So just take note of the blue buildings. So this, you could say almost the majority of the buildings in this area have been placed on the register or are working towards being placed on the register. Here's the parcel in question, right along the main road. Sorry, the name of the street, Mamani Street, is down along the bottom. This is a TMK map. So the parcel is outlined in red and shaded in tan. Here's an aerial photograph looking down on the property. It hasn't outlined the parcel, really just the property itself, right on Wamani Street. So Yamato store and garage, the building itself is over 100 years old. These Mackay buildings typically have residential structures that go along with the store, and which is common. In this case, it has the same setup of commercial and residential. And the building, as was presented in the application, it was stated the building retains its massing, its scale, and the character that defines this kind of era of construction. The second floor residential apartments are accessed from the street entrance, as is the store, and it was said that the building remains in good condition and does retain its integrity of location, design, material setting, craftsmanship, feeling, and association. So the integrity of the property ticks all the boxes as far as Ross Stevenson is concerned. Ross Stevenson is the kind of the applicant for, he's working through the application, and he's the one that typically does these types of applications. So it's the Yamato property is eligible for the register under criterion A and C. So that's important. Criterion A is history and events, where criterion C is architecture. So it was stated the Yamato property retains its historical integrity, really in terms of location, design, settings, material, workmanship, feeling, and association. So again, ticking all the boxes relating to the integrity. And so that's what's important here when you're looking at a registered property. In my discussions with the Department of the Interior, which is the U.S. federal agency that oversees the register, the idea is that you'd be able to, that the look and the feeling and the design of the structure have not changed externally, primarily. Internal changes, of course, have happened over time, and they're not more as much focused on that internal, but the external look and design, architecture, feeling, all of that has been retained, as the outer structure hasn't been changed in 100 years. So when they say integrity, that's kind of what they're talking about. Does it match what was there 100 years ago? Would you get the same feelings and ideas and sense of the structure as you would 100 years ago today? Okay, so here's kind of a breakdown of just the second floor, main floor of the property, and you can see there how they've broken it down. Retail stores, you have a warehouse, there's a warehouse addition, the garage itself, and then on the second floor, you have those residential. I think there's 2 apartments up there. So here's a shot, of course, a historic photograph. I believe it's from the early 1900s. You can see the label, Yamato store, and you can kind of see how it. So I'm going to flash back to that first picture. So kind of take a look at this. This was historic, and then we'll go back to the original, or to the current condition today. You see, of course, Yamato, the label is gone off of the building, but it still retains its same character. Moving on. Here it is again, another one. You can see this one was, I think, taken a few years later. But again, these are all early turn of the century photographs. I believe the first one was, I thought I'd written it down, but I did not. The 1910s, and this might be 1920s. So here's a couple shots of current conditions. So the front exterior, roadside of the structure of the building and garage. You see some of the back, the warehouse addition, some of the structural elements like the wall, supporting wall. So there's some work that definitely needs to be done to the exterior, but this register provides the opportunity for the landowner to do work that aligns with the character of the store. So you wouldn't be able to put a modern facade or anything like that. You'd have to keep with the historic nature. So if any construction goes on, not only would it be brought before the CRC to review, they would have to stick to those kind of styles and the character of the historic building. This is just a detail of the exterior windows that have that old wavy glass still, so the original windows, which is kind of interesting. Sometimes you don't come across that, and doors. So the panorama photograph was taken on opening day of the Yamato store, would have been 1919 or 1923. So note all the flower bouquets sent from the Honoka'a well-wishers located on the mezzanine shelves. So this is the lower right shows the retail store in 2019. So similar use, 100 years, and there's still retail establishment and residential use. So it's kind of neat that the building has retained its pretty specific use for 100 years. So there's just some more information relating to, some of the background of the family. Mr. Yamato, the daughter ran the store, there was auto repair, shop services. And then you see the garage before renovation and as a current retail space today. So the garage is now a retail establishment, no longer an automotive or storage. Here's the residential upstairs. You kind of take note of some of the old architecture and uses, and you see the door, they've got the old original handles, things like that. So some of that interior integrity has been retained. But of course, there's modern upgrades, electric, things like that. So last final shot of the exterior. And then here's kind of a justification. Now, all of this was in the application, and I'd assume that you guys had kind of perused that. So I won't really touch on that. But again, I want to remind you that this is significant under criterion A and criterion C. So use in architecture, and it is believed that the property retains its historical integrity. And based on my review, I would have to concur. Staff believes that this property has retained its historical integrity based on the application and information provided. So at this time, I'd ask that the CRC vote to either send a letter of recommendation or send a kind of disapproval to the mayor for the Yamato store and garage. Thank you.
Commissioners, any questions for staff? By the way, thank you, Alex. If there are no questions, I need a motion for action, please.
No, I have a question, Jerry.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was muted. I was wondering if the current owners are in favor of this registration.
Yeah, actually, when Trump came into office, our current president, he changed the laws that allowed homeowners to kind of opt out of these situations. But the law is pretty clear that the property owner must be, in favor of this, and most likely is working with Dr. Ross Stevenson and to create this application. Ross Stevenson, Dr. Stevenson provided me, he told me a story about how he pursued a register nomination with one of two owners, and that was rejected because the second owner did not. So they really can't pursue it without landowner-owner approval. Every owner on the record needs to approve of this before it's pursued. And Ross told me that he will no longer pursue applications unless all owners are on board.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, I would like to ask for a motion for action to essentially to forward a letter of recommendation, et cetera, to the mayor, something in that regard. If there's anyone that would like to propose a motion, I'd appreciate it. Oh, don't be shy now.
I motion that we send our recommendation to the mayor. A positive recommendation.
Yeah, sorry, the correct term, just to put it on record, is favorable or unfavorable. Sorry about that.
Favorable recommendation to the mayor.
Okay. Is there a second?
I second.
That's
Johanna.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to forward a positive recommendation to the mayor, favorable recommendation to the mayor on this particular agenda item. And it was moved by Natalie and seconded by Kilohana. All those in favor, please raise your hands. All right, looks like it's unanimous. Motion is carried. Thank you. So now we move to the second item on the agenda, and this is presentation by staff on the draft nomination of the John Diaz de Souza property to the State Register of Historic Places and nomination to the National Register of Historic Places. Property is located on TMK 345-007-011, 453599 Mamani Street, Honoka'a, Hamakua, Hawaii. It appears that no public testimony came in for this agenda item. Staff, please confirm. Okay, I know we didn't. So staff presentation, please.
Okay, so moving on. This is for the John Diaz de Souza property, again in Honoka'a Town. So take note, this is the current condition of the building, the current face of the building there. Oh, come on. Why are you being... There we go. Sorry about that, little technical difficulties. There we go, okay. Another shot, Honoka'a Town, Souza property, located right within. Same kind of map. Some of this will be a little bit repetitive, but showing the location, you see the red arrow there of this current property, the John Diaz, we'll just call it the De Souza property. Again, take note of all the historic buildings located in Honoka'a Town. An outline, this is the property, tax map key. So you can see right along Mamani Street, which is kind of running through the center of the tax map key, the property is shaded in green. It's kind of hard to see the red outline, kind of, you see the white structure there. So that's the property outlined in red. So an aerial photograph, Honoka'a Town, Mamani Street. Okay, so I'll kind of skip ahead to, there is again a commercial and residential. The building retains its massing, its scale. Take note of some of the character defining elements such as the front elevation windows, the doors, the shed roofed awning, the false front with its bracketed cornice. The second floor residential apartments are accessed from 2 different entrances. The building remains in good condition and was stated in the application that it retains its integrity of location, design, materials, setting, craftsmanship, feeling, and association. So again, under criterion A, history and events, the Souza property is significant, and under criterion C, architecture, the Souza property is significant at the local level. It's a good example of that plantation era architecture, which is pretty common to Honoka'a Town, and what we see a lot of these structures fall under, that plantation era architecture. So here's a site plan. So on the top left, you see kind of an outline in green of the store and second story. And so on the bottom right, you have the residential floor, the upper floor, and then the Souza building retail floor. So just some plans showing the building setup as it stands now. So here's a historical photograph of the structure of the property. So you can see it has kind of retained a lot of its character since it was originally built. So fast forwarding to today, and here we see a current photograph, and then some additional photographs of the structure surrounding the other sides of the structure. But again, it has changed. You can see the facade front. There, some structural elements, some changes to the windows, but overall has retained the integrity. I'll go back one just so you can kind of compare. So there it is, old, and then here we are today, new. Here's some interior, the exterior door of the retail, and then some interior shots of the retail establishment. Pretty basic, but again, just showing that retail has been on the property for a significant amount of time, and it's continued today. These are the second floor residential structures, and then a small storage building. That's part of the original structure. But that second floor residence, you can see, still retains some of that character, the internal character. Of course, been updated with, current electric and things like that, but still retains a lot of the design character and architecture as it did originally. And that would be doors and walls, some of the, edging and facing still in the original condition. So it was stated it meets the registration requirements and such, I think Ross Stevenson's, to take kind of a step back, Ross Stevenson's goal really is to bring Honoka'a Town as a whole as a historic district. I know there's been discussions in the past, and maybe the commissioners can discuss this, but Honoka'a as a whole is really moving towards an entire historic district. And so Ross has been steadily working with these landowners to bring the individual properties onto the register with the hope that they'd reach some point where the whole Honoka'a Town itself, or at least that surrounding Mamani Street, would be put as an historic district, like full-on register. So, but that's probably a ways away. So it's significant, like I said, under the criterion put forth that commercial side of the property. They talk about the entrepreneurial dreams of Portuguese immigrants to find employment in the plantations and to provide for their families in the establishment of small businesses. So that's pretty common, and you see that. We saw that with the Yamato store, the establishment of a small business, and then residential component to the structure. It's also significant under criterion C as a good example of wood, single wall construction, commercial building constructed in Hawaii. It reflects a good example of early 20th century era construction techniques. And 1903 begins the period of significance for this entire area. The cold storage building that I showed you a picture of is a rare example of local ingenuity by a small business to store meat in a tropical climate. So they kind of just an interesting tidbit. They came up with their own way to store meat and kind of create a freezer. Not really a freezer, but kind of. So both buildings, as stated in the application, retain their historical integrity in terms of location, design, setting, materials, workmanship, feeling, and association. So at this time, I'd ask the CRC to either vote to either support a favorable recommendation or send an unfavorable recommendation to the mayor.
All right, thank you, Alex. Commissioners, any questions for staff? If not, I need a motion for action, similar to item 1, to forward a favorable recommendation to the mayor on this agenda item.
Kilohana Hirano moves that the CRC provide a favorable recommendation on the D'Souza property to the mayor.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Teresa. So it has been moved by Commissioner Rano and seconded by Commissioner Dunham to forward a favorable recommendation to the mayor on the Souza property. All those in favor, please raise your right hand. I see that's unanimous. Motion is passed and carried. So the comments will be forwarded to the mayor in writing. Thank you. We're now on item number 3, staff update regarding the Navy's response to comments provided by the CRC per letter dated September 1, 2020, in accordance with Section 106 of the National Historic Preservation Act consultation for a proposal to conduct land, maritime, and air-based training activities for Naval Special Operations personnel in the state of Hawaii. We have received testimony from Ms. Jojo Tanimoto. And for the record, I'm going to ask each commissioner whether or not they reviewed the testimony. Scott?
Yes, I have.
Kilohana?
Yes, I have.
Natalie?
Have.
And Teresa? Any comments from the commissioners?
I have a comment.
No? Yes, Scott.
Just looking at this testimony, there are some questions on all her 5 points that she brought up. Some of that is confusing to me because it seems like she's addressing it to us, but it should be addressed to other people. Like just the first one, she mentions the commissioner's assistant. She needs the commissioner's assistance to register the historic sites in Kauai. What sites are she talking about?
You're
sites?
Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering about just that 1.1.
Well, you're absolutely right. The subject refers to our agenda item number 3, but if you look at the contents, there really are not any items that refer to the subject matter.
Right.
Hey, Chair, I had a couple conversations with JoJo, and how do I put this? She was a little confused on the extent of this project, and she kind of combined it with others. So I tried to straighten her out and let her know that, you know, one, that we were focused on this, but that two, there are a number of other agencies, and so some of her concerns didn't align with CRC, so I directed her to, of course, DLNR is, you know, is the accepting authority for this project, and so I tried to help her, but I'm not sure if I got through. So, but yeah, the comments provided were a little bit off topic from what we're reviewing today. So, as far as the commissioners are concerned, you know, as long as you don't have any questions, but I'll get into a little more of this. I don't want to take up when I do my little talk here.
No, Alex, I'm actually glad to hear that you have been in contact with her regarding her testimony, and that she does understand that it really doesn't relate to the agenda item that we will be discussing this morning.
Yeah, I tried to direct her to the appropriate agencies, give her contact information so she could, you know, provide the clear testimony. But then she started talking about another project that I had no idea about. We don't have, so she kind of was combining things together. So I tried to, you know, get that straight. But you know, but I have talked to her, and so this is what she submitted. But whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and start.
Okay, so why don't we do, any questions? Teresa?
I have one. I pretty much agree. Her fourth comment about the communities are in unison in protecting the marine resources we are used for food. That statement is relevant. That, you know, so I mean, the other ones, yeah, I don't even know how involved. This is a Navy project that we're reviewing, and most of the activities up at PTA are Marines and Army. So anyway.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, if not, we'll move on to staff presentation on item 3.
Okay, so I just have a little update. So first of all, I've been in contact with the Navy back and forth, and I got a response. And I'm going to show you on the camera only because I didn't want to share it with you because it really makes no sense. So hold on a second. I just knocked over the camera. My bad. All right. So let's see. Okay, so you see this map. I show you only because it's extremely chaotic and there is absolutely no key. I have no idea what these symbols or lines or anything mean. So what I was provided was a short write-up. She addressed a couple of the concerns in the letter. So I'll go through some of what she had said, my contact at the Navy, but know that we are still, they have not completed, you know, addressing your concerns, so we will most likely pick this up again next meeting. So, for canoe activities, the Navy has consulted with the Kauai High Canoe Club president. They were informed that practice takes place between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. daily. The Navy shared with the Canoe Club president, I guess his name is Mr. Vincent, that the bulk of their training is done from dusk to dawn, so in the nighttime hours, so they do not anticipate any interaction with paddlers. For proposed training, they will have a minimum of 2 small boats. The training will not shut down access to any public person who are utilizing the area. No closures are proposed. Public will not be denied access to the area. A typical training scenario would be 2 small 25-foot support boats and with 7 personnel, one of which is actually a marine mammal lookout. So they'll have a lookout for marine mammals on every boat. And that requires annual training. I had her address that because I was like, well, they just assign some guy and be like, oh, seal, whale. No, they actually get trained to how to identify. How they do that at night, I'm not sure. If a fisherman or canoe enters the training area, the Navy crew would watch the progress of the fisherman or canoe. If they started to get close to trainees, the lookout boat would then approach the fisherman or canoe. The training boats follow all U.S. Coast Guard procedures. They would inform the fisherman or canoe crew that Navy training is taking place. So they'd go up to them, say, hey, we're doing Navy training, and ask the fisherman or canoe if they would like to stop. If the response is no, so if the paddler or canoeist does not want to stop, the Navy would either stop their training or move to an entirely new area. So she was very clear about that, which I think is decent. They'll ask the paddler, they'll ask the fisherman, hey, can you guys hold off for a second? If the fisherman or paddler says, no, I'm not stopping what I'm doing, the Navy will back off, stop their training, or move to a new area. So that kind of addresses one of the concerns that you guys had. Kind of like number 2, they're still waiting Department of Aquatic Resources updated signed approval. So we wanted to see how DAR responded. They're still working through that. And I told her that's kind of important. I said the CRC really would like to know if DAR's comments were addressed and how they were addressed. So she's going to provide that information to me. They are in the process of finalizing the environmental assessment, and they'll have a copy that will ask for public comments. So we're kind of ahead of the game. So we'll be able to kind of see that EA and then provide another set of comments. So you kind of have an opportunity for them to work through some of your issues and then make sure they work through your issues when the publication comes out. And so if that during the publication that you see that they didn't, we can then provide more comments. So we're going to revisit this again and again. I'm going to try not to bog you down and only bring it to you guys when there's something ready to be, discussed, new information, things like that. So today is an update in preparation for possibly November or December when we will actually, when the CRC will review it and provide, updated public comments or comments from the commission. They put this little blurb in, or she wrote it in. This is just an email. The preservation of historic and cultural sites are paramount to the ongoing and future use of Hawaiian Island and actually all of Hawaii. So they believe that. She said, we believe that and we are working, doing everything we can. But that's it. That's all they addressed. So they didn't address all of our concerns. I informed her, the Navy contact, that I would be looking to have every comment addressed, but was then informed that we're kind of ahead of the game and we'll have another opportunity when the EA is finalized to kind of comment on that prior to its publication. So just to reiterate, there are a number of agencies that are because it's across the state. DLNR is kind of the main agency that's responsible for the permits that go along with this. So they have taken a lead role. DOFA has looked into, this is for Natalie, into the bees. DAR is looking into the marine mammal protection areas. OCCL is reviewing the coastal impacts to our shorelines and beaches. And then Land Division, of course, is making sure that the lands that they're using are public trust lands that could be affected or impact the public's use of those lands. So, there's nothing really to be done today unless you have if you have any questions for me, but I'm still really waiting for a more formal response from the Navy on your letter that was presented last time. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Alex. Any questions, commissioners, for staff?
I have a question for Alex.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Alex, that map you put up, I couldn't see it real well, but does that include that West Hawaii Regional Fishing Management Area?
It didn't. It seemed to, because she attached a blurb which was from DLNR regarding Ankling Ponds. So I put in an email at the beginning of the week. I haven't heard back from her. Like, what is this map? What is it saying? Why are there two big red stars on it? I showed it to you only just so you'd know that I didn't quite get back what I expected. And but no, it does not. It really talks about it. It talks about. It shows a couple archaeological sites, the Ki'i Pokaku Trail, and then a label that says, I think the Ankling Ponds may be in this area. And then there's a write-up, which is copied from DLNR about Ankling Ponds. So it's like a half-assed response, pardon my French. So I asked her specifically, what's this? What is going on with this map? Why did you send it to me? And I have not heard a response yet. So I'm sorry, okay. I don't have much information on that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Teresa?
Yeah, Alex, can you add around, let us look at it? Can't really make out anything when you put it up to the camera. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I will kind
scan
of
it and send it, email it.
Yeah. I'll have Kim forward this to you guys. It just has what I read and then that map. I just didn't want to confuse you because I don't know. I have no idea. Like, what are these big red stars? So I didn't want you guys to ask me and I have no answers. But if you'd like to see it, yeah, Kim will send it out after the meeting so you all have this. And then maybe we can figure out next meeting what they were actually trying to get across. So I just didn't want to provide information.
Yeah. It might be a draft form or something they're putting in their final EA.
Yeah.
That's worth looking at. I wouldn't mind looking at it.
Yeah, that's fine. I just didn't want to confuse anybody because I couldn't answer much about it. So, okay. We'll have that sent out to you guys. No, toot sweet.
Any other questions for Alex? Okay, if not, so Kim, you scan the map and just email it to us, yeah?
Yeah, I'll do that today.
Okay, thank you. So we're now going to move on to administrative matters. And we now have approval of the minutes of the August 26, 2020 Cultural Resources Commission meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
Nope.
Yep, it was perfect again. So I'd like to ask a motion and a second to approve the minutes as circulated.
I move we approve the minutes of the subject meeting. I forget the date.
I'll second.
Was it Kilohana?
Well, Scott, second.
Scott, okay. All right. So it was moved by Commissioner Dunham and seconded by Commissioner Mahoney that the minutes of the August 26, 2020 meeting be approved as circulated. All those in favor, raise your hand, please. Okay, motion carried. Item 2 is discussion by the commission staff on potential projects for future commission review.
Chair, I'm going to go ahead and allow Teresa to go ahead and present her discussion on the subcommittee and update. So Teresa, okay. If you want to go ahead and do that first.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and this is, I wanted to bring it up just in case the commission wanted an opportunity to get involved at some point. But basically, we're talking about La'aloa Beach Park here in Kona. And the subcommittee, Preservation Plan Subcommittee conducted a site visit back in 2018, November of 2018, and we sent a letter to the county January 2019 requesting a number of answers to questions and recommendations because it was blatantly clear that they still have not implemented a preservation plan and a burial treatment plan that have been on the books since approved by SHPE in 2007. So anyway, in the letter that we wrote on January 14, 2019, we requested an update from Parks and Recreation within 6 months to respond to our concerns. Now here it is, well over a year since we wrote the letter, a year and a half. So we were going to follow up. I checked in with the subcommittee. They're all in favor of us, the subcommittee, basically putting together a new letter, and it would be signed by you, Jerry, the chair. So we're working on this. The question, I guess, is, does the commission want to review the letter and comment before it gets signed by the chair, or proceed as the subcommittee and send it to Jerry for signature? I guess you folks have, I think, I'm not sure how many, Scott, you were here, right? And Jerry, when this went to the last time? Yeah. So you folks are familiar with it, yeah?
Yes.
Yes. And Natalie has a copy of that letter. I'm not sure. Like to be updated. I checked, for some reason, the itself is not in the materials file for the pertinent meeting, so we probably didn't discuss it before. It just kind of worked its way through, but we did have a number of site visits that were open to all commissioners, and so it was fairly, what was going on was well known by everyone in commission. But anyway, I just to let you folks know and see if back to the commission, the same questions have been asked by number one, all the stakeholders, the people that have been volunteering over there, the SHPE people, us. Basically, when are you guys going to finish this? So anyway, just letting you know that's in the pipe to come over to you, Jerry. And, if anyone has any questions right now. I don't know if anybody's been by there, but it's a mess. It's so overgrown right now. It's just terrible. It's worse now than it was when we first initiated our site visit back in 2018.
Hey, I was just informed by Corp Counsel that in order to submit a letter, the entire CRC needs to vote on that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so.
Good to know.
So we'll agendize it. Well, Teresa, that would give us an opportunity to bring up to speed the other commissioners. So maybe we'll agendize that. I can coordinate with you. We can agendize that and kind of bring it back up in front of the commission, the rest of the commission, and either you can report on it as a subcommittee or I can, but we can coordinate. But let's go ahead and put that on the agenda so we can do it, get everybody involved.
Okay.
So we'll agendize it for our next meeting?
Yeah, or yeah, I'll
I guess we
coordinate
can
with
have the letter done by then.
her. Well, either that or December. You know, we can do.
Alex, what's the possibility of, if we are sending a letter? You know, this is a county parks and recreation we're talking about,
Yes.
of having the director or someone attend our CRC meeting to bring us up to date on the project. I'm just throwing it out there.
I can definitely invite and say,
Yeah.
hey, look, the CRC is looking for an update on this project and why you haven't addressed, you know, the response, the letter from 2019 regarding the barrel treatment plan. Yeah, we can, whether they respond, but I'll put that in. Staff will request Parks and Rec director or deputy director or some representative to come and provide an update to La'aloa.
Okay, that would be good. Maybe we'll see some action before they come to the committee meeting, commission meeting. Okay, thank you, Teresa and Alex.
Okay, so,
Oh, go
so,
ahead.
yeah, does that mean we go ahead and write the letter anyway, or we just ask him to come and
No.
give us the
I was
update?
supposed
I
to
mean,
write the letter anyway and ask him to come so that he can respond to the letter, or he or she.
but we have to approve the letter.
Yeah, well, we can do a draft
Yeah.
letter for review and review that and concurrently have him or her present from Parks and Rec, and then all one fell swoop. Maybe we could resolve it by having Parks and Rec over here, but if they don't show up, then you can just move forward with approving the letter, and then we get it sent out. So go ahead and write the draft letter, and we can use that as part of the agenda presentation. Does that sound good, Chair?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. Do you have any other potential projects for future commission review, Alex?
I was hoping I did, but again, I haven't heard back, so I am all set. I don't have anything left.
Okay.
I'm done.
All right. Thank you. So we're in announcements. Our next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Tuesday, November 10, 2020 at 10 a.m. And the day being a Tuesday because the Wednesday is a holiday, Veterans Day, I believe. So this concludes the items on this agenda. I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
Kilohana Hirano moves to adjourn.
Okay, any second?
Second.
Was that Natalie? All right, it's been moved and seconded, moved by Commissioner Hirano and seconded by Commissioner Hiroshima? I don't know. Sorry, Natalie. That meeting is adjourned, so that we're proud.
Thank
So
you,
thank you,
commissioners, for coming
everybody.
in today. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Alex and Kim.
Okay, and you should expect to hear from Kim with that information. And as always, contact us if you have any questions or concerns.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Okay. Aloha.
Bye.
Thank you.